this is my ALLIS Chalmers WC. I forgot the year of it, but you've seen it if you haven't watched the video. We got this thing running. It doesn't run the best. Mainly needs carburetor clean and a intake exhaust manifold because the exhaust is all the way rusted through, and I'm pretty sure there's pinholes on the intake side. I think I got the right one. The belt's good enough. I think there's a coolant leak, but I think it's just a hose. I got some parts for it. I don't have tires because tires for these things are expensive. Well, I do have the old tires, but I bought tubes for them tires. I mean, I think they'll be good enough for me. We just can't put the full pressure in it. I think that one will be fine. This one, actually that one held air until I filled that one up. This one has always been flat, but it actually looks better than that one. This one's always been flat. That one had air in it, or didn't have air. I filled it with air and it was good. It wasn't like bulging out or nothing. And then we started pushing it around and being on one tire. I think it popped the tube, but this tire didn't like bulge out or nothing. So I want to say the tire's fine. And I don't know why the shifter goes way out like that, but it needs some things. Obviously, we're going to try to get it running, being we're at the new shop here. I need something to kind of push cars around. Well, this isn't going to be push cars around. This is going to use it to move trailers and whatnot. We got a skid loader. It's going to be coming. I got to go get it tomorrow. That's going to be kind of a mix of videos of this and that, but they're going to be two separate videos, but I'll be working on them kind of the same time. But I don't know why it says WD. I'm pretty sure it's a WC. I didn't pay $1,000 for it. That's been on there for years. But pretty sure it's a WC. I don't know why it says WD on there. But unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a new style WC, ALLIS Chalmers. But yeah, the back tires are like brand new. I mean, they're probably 30 years old, but look at them. And then I think it was this one that was flat when I got it. I took it to work, took the tube out, patched the tube, and it's been holding there since. But, oh, another thing is that starter drive gear is shot. So we got another one. We're going to try to put a starter drive gear in it, in the Bendix or whatnot, because the starter spins. I think it's good. But I got a new one of them. So I think we're going to take the hood off first so I can get more room. Get the exhaust off, get the intake off. Take everything off there, and then, I don't know, just kind of go from there. It's a decent tractor, I think. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot better. My shoes untied. But this is going to be the tractor for the shop, because I got that D17, but that's way up north. And it's kind of big to put on like a normal trailer. This one you can fit on a normal trailer. I mean, the D17 will fit on like a deck over trailer, but the tires are too wide for a trailer with fenders, which this one isn't, I don't think, just by looking at it. I think my Imperial's wider than this thing. But we're gonna go ahead and get this one running pretty decent for, yard work around here and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know what this does. Is it like flaps in there you can close for winter time? I think so. That must be stuck. But yeah, you've seen this tractor, so we're just gonna kind of tear into it. Well, here's the starter drive. I might try to put that in first, just so, I don't know. But here's the intake. So today at work I was worried that it didn't come with gaskets, but it's got all the gaskets. It's got the little pipe deal, so you can put my muffler on it, and it looks pretty good. I covered it in oil, so it's all sticky, but at least it doesn't rust. But the only difference of this one to the one that I have on the tractor stock because it doesn't have that big plate deal, which I like better, so I don't have to worry about it rusting out again. But it looks very nice. It literally looks like a brand new manifold. Like, it is, but it looks like a high quality brand new manifold. So I think we're gonna take the hood off, pull the starter out quick, try to put this in the starter. Not sure how the starter comes apart, but the problem is the teeth on this are they're gone. But we're gonna attempt to put this in, which I don't know. We'll figure it out. So, well, I got the starter off. You can see what was wrong with it. I don't think the Bendix was pushing out enough. Not sure, but we're gonna attempt to take this apart. I'm assuming take this back cover off and pull all the guts out. So I'll give it a try. All right. Well, I did something. I pulled it apart. I think there's supposed to be 2 screws right there, but I don't see any screws anywhere. So what I did is took the two bolts out of the back. Just got this cover loose. Didn't take the cover off. Shoot, I should have lined all that up. I'll figure it out. But oh no, there's a pin. Oh, thank God. I thought I messed up like the clocking, or whatever you want to call it. But then I kind of wiggled this loose, pulled this part apart, and this part was in here. I think there's supposed to be 2 screws here that hold this into there, and I just pulled it out, and I think I found the problem. She's broken, so it's really not doing anything. Well, the spring is broke, so it's not pushing out like it should. So hopefully that'll work, but it came apart super easy. All right, got all this pulled off. It looks like this is all supposed to be together, and then there's a little keyway. So I'm just gonna line up the keyway, tighten the bolts up, bend them. There's little tabs on the bolts to hold them in place so it doesn't fall apart. And we're gonna put the starter back together, and before we do anything else, we're just gonna see if the starter works, because that is the biggest problem we got. We cannot start it on its own. And I've never hand cranked a tractor before, but I know I'm doing it wrong, because every time I try, well, first of all, it's not running right. So it'd take like He-Man to crank this thing over and over and over again to get it to start. But every time I try to, I break my shoulder, or, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. So we're just gonna put the electric starter in it since it's got it. So in 1 second, this is gonna be all put together for you guys, but for me, we're gonna be here for 20 more minutes and probably finish this drink. But anyway, let's get the starter put back together. It's a little tricky trying to get these windings put back on the brushes, or whatever the hell they're called, but it's put back together. So now we're gonna put it on the tractor and see if it's put together right. All right, so the starter's in. All it is a sleeve. Well, you've seen what the starter looked like, but you put it in the hole, and then there's a little nipple, or not nipple, like a little indent on the starter. You just kind of line that up with the bolt and tighten that down, which I should probably take this bolt out to make sure it's lined up properly, just so I don't shear this gear off. And then I'm gonna mount the solenoid back on there and hook the jump box up and see if she'll spin over. So this is the little hole I'm talking about. I took that bolt out, and you see that hole? It's not really lined up, so I just gotta pull it down a little bit, get it lined up a little better, and it should be centered, or yeah, centered. I think this is the right word. I don't know, you know what I mean. Alright, since I don't have a battery, well, here's a wiring diagram for a 66 Imperial if you're interested. Costs money to buy a wiring diagram for that thing, I guess, but since I don't have a battery, we're gonna use this jump box. This is probably one of the best jump boxes I've ever used. It's just a cheap, pretty sure it's Harbor Freight brand, and it's got an air compressor, and it's been pretty, it started everything I've needed it to. I don't think this thing's in gear. Nope. So I got the ground hooked up to there. Hook the positive up to this one and only battery cable this thing's got. And see what happens. Well, It cranks over. We might as well see if it'll start. I don't know if there's any gas left in it because I forgot the gas valve on. I don't know if a bug flew in my eye or what. I can't see nothing. Let's just see what happens. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but we got the original ALLIS Chalmers belt up here. Well, it's engraved up there, but right here is this logo. There's a part number. 2098. I'm about to shut that phone off. 209824. If I need that part number when the belt explodes. It looks pretty rough. Let's see what happens. And oh, I can't even see in the sight glass. Well, there's stuff moving in there. I'm gonna sit on the tractor just in case it decides to jump in gear or something. Alright. I don't remember which way the throttle is. I think that's choke. Well, the carbon monoxide detector's going off. Alright, well, she's a runner, obviously. I had it running not that long ago, and you can hear it runs, and then it doesn't. And then it runs, and it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it's firing on all cylinders. Oh, now the carburetor's leaking. But I'm thinking it's the carburetor mixed with the intake leak, mixed with the bad points, mixed with the bad plugs, the bad wires. And really, these the plugs are brand new, but the plugs that were in here, I took them out and I went to an estate sale and I bought like a whole bunch of oil filters and they're all old and junk. I bought them because they were cheap, but the plugs happened to be like 2 numbers off, so I just put them in here. And I want to say they're the right part numbers. Need a temp gauge. Pretty sure it's got oil pressure. I haven't checked. Well, it says it's got oil pressure and it's not even running. I gotta do an oil change on it. I really don't want to get rid of this oil filter because it's an ALLIS Chalmers filter, but what do you do? There ain't no ALLIS Chalmers dealers nearby. Alright, so it runs. We'll need a battery eventually, but the jump box works. Look how good this thing runs though. Let's just make sure it isn't in gear anymore. Well, since the starter obviously works, it works pretty good too. I'm going to pull the hood off and then we can get started on pulling the old intake manifold exhaust. Well, I'm just going to call it the manifold because it's the intake and exhaust all in one. So we'll start getting this thing ripped off. Alright, so I got the exhaust off, I got the hood off. I don't got any like PB blaster or nothing like that. I do got a little butane torch, so I'm going to attempt to get all these out without breaking anything off, so wish me luck. I'm just slowly going to go back and forth with each one a little bit. This one's pretty freed up. Yep, she came loose, but yeah, I'm just going to do that all the way down I'm gonna go grab a magnetic tray and we'll get this thing off. I should probably take the fuel line off and the choke and the throttle, but I'll probably take the fuel line off right now, I guess. But in a second, this thing should be off. So, all right, all the bolts came out. Right off. Alright, now I just gotta unhook the linkages on, it's still kind of warm, but I'm just gonna unhook these couple linkages off the carburetor and it'll come off. It actually looks like the same exact motor out of my D17. I know they're both 4 cylinders, but it looks identical. I know this, see, you can see it rusted out right there, and it's rusted up under here, but when I bought that new intake over there, it says it fits a D17, WD-40, a WC, a WD. It says it fits all of them. Not all of them, but all them models. So I think the D17 it's got the same motor, just guessing. I don't know for sure. Some ALLIS Chalmers guys let me know. But I'll get these linkages off and maybe get the other one on today. Well, the manifold's off. It looks pretty good so far. It's running super rich. It needs to be ran and used up a little bit, and should come back around. Not really sure how these gaskets are supposed to go. I don't think they go like that. I think you put the gasket on and then the metal, I think. But oh, never mind, it fits now. And then I think they go like that, I want to say. That's the only way that makes sense to me. So I'll mess around with this thing a little bit and maybe get it installed. Well, I'm partway through rebuilding the carburetor, and the inside doesn't look the best. I think every passage is open. A few things I'm putting in. I can't get the seat out for the needle, but I put a new needle in it. The carburetor for the D17, when I rebuilt that, it actually looked worse than the inside of this. And it didn't run the best at first, but I ran some seafoam stuff through it, some Berryman stuff through it, and did the wide open throttle and choked it out a couple times, and that thing runs awesome now. So I might just try the same thing on here. I mean, it isn't really hard to take the carburetor back off. This is the gasket I made for it in the last video, but I got a new gasket. I'm not really going to put all these new throttle bushings in here because I think it's all good. And if it doesn't work, I'm just going to try to find a new carburetor to make it. Just buying a new carburetor is the easiest way to make it run nice. But we're going to try to rebuild this and maybe start it up again tonight. It might be a little too late, but we can just shut the door and start it up for a little bit to see how it runs. But let me get this carburetor put back together. Well, I kind of got the carburetor rebuilt. I noticed there was this random hole in the bottom of the carburetor, so I just threw some RTV on it. Not sure if it's going to stick because I didn't really clean it up. But we're going to throw it on quick now and see if it will run a little better. So let me get this hooked up and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, so carburetor's on, linkage is kind of hooked up. I don't really know what these are set to. Intake's on. The muffler's just kind of sitting in there. It did come with this piece. It kind of sits in there like this. And I don't know, really, I don't know if you weld to this. I mean, it's magnetic, so you can weld to it, but I don't have a nut, or I don't have a bolt for that. It looks just like a 5/16 bolt, but I don't have one, so let's maybe just try to start it with the door open and just see what happens. Make sure it's not in gear, and it's not, so fire it up. Still doesn't run the best. Alright, well, it runs. It's 9:30 at night. It's pretty late. That's why I shut the garage door halfway through, just to be quiet. Obviously, I might die of carbon monoxide poisoning, but it runs. I gotta get some coolant. It runs a little bit. Ooh, it may have a rear main leak or something. That's what stop leaks for, but it's good enough for what I got. If it leaks oil like that and it runs like this, it'll work for what I need. Now that it's got electric start, I don't have to be pushed all the time, so that's a big plus. Coolant leak. This hose clamp might be, well, I can't tighten it because it's one of them. Well, where's my vice grip? I don't know if you guys like this view, but it's so much easier for me to record, but with this weird headband thing on, it kind of gets hot. Well, let me open the door now that it's not running. Yep, carburetor's leaking again. It's leaking out. It's leaking out of the RTV I put on there, so maybe... I don't know. Still need to kind of look at that. All the oil's burning off the manifold. Well, I got tubes today. I'm just unairing them and airing them up a couple times. These are just new style turf tires. I took the aggressiveness off of them a little bit here and there, so it's kind of like an all-terrain. I got some tread here, and then it goes back to turf, so kind of a universal tire. I figured tubes are cheap enough to just throw in here to run it around the yard until these ones pop, and then I go buy some nice tires, because I don't even know if this thing's going to be worth it or not to put tires on it. I mean, the back tires are like brand new, but 30 years old. They're not really weather cracked. They are a little bit, but they must have been in the shade most of its life. But jack stand's doing nothing because it's not tall enough. That's fine. But we're gonna get some tires on here, and I got my Chrysler here today. It's the next day, so we're gonna see if it moves it under its own power. It needs a rear main seal, but not worried about that yet. And then I gotta figure out how to bolt the exhaust in there. So far it's almost good enough to roll around on its own four wheels. All right, I'm gonna try to drive this under its own power. I got a battery mounted. I gotta fix the shifter because it keeps flopping everywhere. Not enough power. Well, that's kind of it for the ALLIS Chalmers. It it kind of runs under its own power. The main thing is I got a starter in here so I can move it around. This tire went flat. Yeah, the valve stem, you can see why. That's where the valve stem was. It just, I need to find some steel wheels for it, and I gotta get a different carburetor on here. This one is junk. It is so rusted and pitted inside, it's not even worth. I already put one rebuild kit in there. It's not worth doing anything else to. But anyway, that's it for the ALLIS Chalmers. I'm gonna get some parts eventually for it. For right now, we're gonna bring it back in the garage, put the hood on it, probably get the exhaust on it, and make it, well, the exhaust is on it, but bolt it on and make it so I can pull it out back for now. But thanks for watching.